You are going to learn the correct way of writing direct and indirect speech. This is going to enhance your writing because you are going to use these skills as you'll be writing your compositions and answering of questions. After this lesson, you will be able to understand the difference between direct and indirect speech. You will also be able to apply this knowledge in your own writing, whether writing of essays, compositions, or answering of questions. You will also be able to accurately punctuate direct and indirect speech using commas and full stops where they are supposed to be put, and knowing where to put the quotation marks. You will know when and how to change pronouns and verb tenses in direct speech. To start with, let's look at direct speech. When we use direct speech in our writing, the exact words spoken must be put inside speech marks. The first spoken word must have a capital letter. When a new speaker begins, we must start a new line. We are going to look into some examples of direct speech. Like here, we have got a boy that you can see in the picture. He's saying, I have hurt my leg. I have hurt my leg. As you can see, there are quotation marks there, or the speech marks. The I is capital letter. I have hurt my leg. Because he exclaimed, there's an exclamation mark. And the closing speech marks were put there, closing the punctuation inside the spoken words, because it's part of the words that were said. It's telling us how the words were said. If it's a question, you will see how it will be looking like. If it's just a statement, you will also see how it will be looking like. So I have hurt my leg, mourned the boy. In this picture here, we can see there's a doctor and a boy sitting on a bed in the clinic or a hospital or surgery, whatever you may call it. Now, the words that were said there, can you take a deep breath? That's a question, and it has a question mark. Now, let's look how it was punctuated. We go to the bottom there. Open, speech marks, capital letter C, can you take a breath? Question mark. Then it was closed. As you can see, this was a question, and because it was a question said by the doctor, and those were the words from the doctor, including the question mark, they are all inside the quotation marks or the speech marks. Then you write in front, asked the doctor. You are now specifying, telling us who said the words. So these words that are said are actually part of the sentence. That's why A on ask is a small letter, and the full stop is at the end. Now we have a woman in that picture holding a dress, and she's saying something there. I like the dress, showing that those are the words that came from the woman. Now, in this case, we're not starting with the words that were said. We're starting by telling the people who said the words. The woman said, comma. A comma is used to separate your words to tell us who said what. Then you put opening speech marks, and you start with your capital letter there. I like this dress. Full stop. Then you put the closing quotation marks or the closing speech marks. At this point, you're going to pause this presentation and do the work that is given there. You can type it or you can just write it on a paper. You practice to show the direct speech, quoting correctly the words that were said, showing the correct punctuations. You can take a piece of paper and start writing. Okay, that's all about direct speech for now. Now let's look at indirect speech. This is sometimes called reported speech. That's a name given to indirect speech. It's called reported because you are not telling it directly as it was said. That's why it's also called indirect. You are not saying exactly the words that were said by the person. Now, things to remember when we use direct speech in our writing, we don't use speech marks. There are no speech marks in there because you are not saying the words as they were said. You are not saying the words directly as they were said by the person. We should also have to change pronouns and verb tenses. We're going to see that in the following examples. And we don't have to start a new line when we report a new speaker's words. For us to be able to see the difference between direct and indirect speech, we are going to use the examples that we have used before as direct. Now we are changing them into indirect speech. The boy moaned that he had hurt his leg. Previously we said, I have hurt my leg, moaned the boy. But now, look, it's now saying the boy moaned that. We have introduced a new word there, that. He, from the word my, had hurt, I have hurt, had changed to had hurt his leg, then my leg. So this, you can, if you look carefully, you can see the differences that are coming up there. We can move to the next example. Previously, the doctor said, can you take a deep breath? Now, if we look at how it changed, the doctor asked the boy, because there's a question mark, we've used the word asked, if he could take a deep breath. Look, we have underlined he for the word you and the word could for the word can. So that's how it changed there. The change of pronouns and the change in the verb tenses. Right? So the verb can changed into could. We can look at yet another example before you can practice on your own. The lady in the picture is looking at those dresses. Previously we said, I like this dress. Then we closed and we said, we write something in front. But now we are no more going to say it that way. We're going to see how it's going to come out when it's now indirect. The woman said that she liked the dress. That's the statement that we have now, which is a reported speech. You can see the reappearing of the word that. He said that, you know, when people gossip, they say, he said that, okay. The woman said that she liked the dress. Now we can see, said that, she, for the word I. So the pronoun I changed to she. This like changed into the past tense like, and everything else would stay the same. Now it's your turn to try and do some practice by yourself. Just like before, you can pause the video or the presentation, you can call it, and try to punctuate those sentences that are there, or those words that were said by the people. Try to report them, write them. We're using the reported speech. Remember the change of verbs from into past tense, and the change of pronouns from the first person to the third person. Now get your paper and start writing. Right. If you did not get the idea of indirect speech and direct speech, you can replay again the presentation, paying attention and trying to practice well and see if you are getting it. If you still feel that you are still confused, you can contact me and I can organize another lesson with you. Thank you very much.